in this country. That's evolution of dreams. It is you, it is everyone. So today, not just the opportunity for us to mark mental health, is to have a discussion about how to navigate around the negative challenges that you'll be having. In the face of adversity, how would you triumph? We'll be hearing from Mr. John Asogonsi, who was once dealing with alcoholism, and now he's been able to set up Eden Bar, a non-alcoholic bar. So he has used his platform, his story, experience, to do something for the next person. Gisela, whose mother was facing breast cancer, we wanted to hear from the families that support, people like that. How do you go through those treatment journey with them? And then whether they survive or not survive, how do you cope with the loss? We want to hear from those. I am sure Jonah from CDD would also be engaging you. Once you've started the program, how are you coping with your own challenge? How can we learn from each other? So today is about mental health. It is not just about the panelist, it's also about you. We can hear from each other, we can learn from each other, and encourage each other to keep moving forward, no matter how difficult it is. So at this point, I'm going to hand the mic to Mr. Jonah from CDD, the moderator, and also invite Gisela to join us on the panel. Mr. Asogondi, are you available? Are you online? Hello? Great, thank you so much. Please join me in welcoming all the panelists for this mental health discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gisela. Please join. I am very excited to join. You can go that way and send that, to join you today, especially for the audience I see here being law students. I can very much relate with your journeys because I also went through this and finished my program last year. And so for us as law students, I know I can relate to what you are going through, and I would like you to share your stories as we go on about how you are coping with your studies and combining it with all the other things that you are doing, and how this is affecting you, because I know the journey is not easy at all. I mean, I did the evening stream, and so you can imagine studying the law, which in itself is, I don't know if anyone here would say the law is a very easy program. Anyone? Anyone? Which of you here think it's easy? I mean, it's not so difficult. Prof, it's easy for Prof, but I'm sure even for Prof, you occasionally would have certain difficulties and go through certain challenges, either with colleagues or presentations and all of that. So, I mean, I would come to you later to share how you are coping as we go on, And Mr. Asongode, thank you very much for joining us. Your story is one that I'm sure a lot of us have heard about Eden Bar, and when they were starting, all of the talk on social media about whether it was sustainable to have a non-alcoholic joint and whether it will be fancy, for we, the relatively younger, generation and all of that. And for Gisela, I cannot wait to hear your story. Because you are here and Mr. Asongode is online, I would want him to begin the conversation for us by telling us your story, just highlighting for us briefly what you do now and why the whole idea of Eden Bar.
privilege to have the opportunity to share my story. It's something I really enjoy doing because I like to inspire people to know that everything is possible. So basically, my story, the when it comes to giving back, I always tell people that I created giving back myself. I say that because there was a point in my life where I was struggling with consider as an addiction because I was drinking every day, I was smoking every day, and this addiction was leading my life to distraction. I was almost losing it all. But after I quit drinking in 2018, so here's the thing: when I was drinking as well, I actually used to work in the nightlife scenes as well. I was a business manager for a company that owned a nightclub in Accra. So my lifestyle was heavily involved around parties and the nightlife business. But after I quit drinking in 2018, I realized that I couldn't go to certain places anymore. And if you are familiar with Accra, everywhere you go at night, it almost feels like alcohol was just being pushed into your face. Even if you didn't want to drink, it's almost impossible to just have fun with your friends or just go out and socialize without the pressure to drink. So I thought, why not have a non-alcoholic space? That feels like a bar, that looks like a bar. You can go out with your friends, to have some fun, enjoy the nightlife atmosphere, the music, the lights, and everything, without feeling the pressure to drink alcohol. And that's how the idea for eating bar started. And like you rightly said, people thought it was impossible. Why would you open a non-alcoholic bar? But because the conviction came from a deep place, because it's something that I myself wanted to see happen, I just kept working hard at it, and we finally made it happen.
For you, how did this affect you? I mean, for what was going through your mind? What's your motivation for? I know you were working within the nightlife industry and all that, but what kept you that okay, this is a good thing? I mean, drinking is okay. What did this affect you at the time, and what prompted you to say, I'm at this point, enough is enough?
Okay, you're asking about my alcohol addiction, how I broke off my alcohol addiction.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, it's a series of events. My life became very miserable at a point. When we started drinking, it was just for fun, and so we didn't really see anything wrong with it. And it was this, we call ourselves social drinkers. You only drink when you're out. But eventually, along the line, it became worse than that. You didn't just drink when you're out. You drank at home. You drank everywhere, basically everywhere. And so this started to take a toll on my health. I noticed that my health was not, 100 anymore. My finances, I was all over the place. I was able to keep my finances in check. I was able to keep my relationship with my family. That was one thing that really stood out to me. My relationship with my family, smoking as well. I was smoking marijuana, and these drugs have a very big toll on you. So my person that I was ordained to be, or the destiny that I had, I felt like I could never achieve it if I kept on going that path, because I was just completely miserable. I was completely empty. And most often than not, people who are addicted to drugs or alcohol, you know very well that if your habits your habits are playing a role in your downfall. But usually the acceptance to accept that that's where the problem is coming from is where the problem is. So for me, after I recognized that these habits were really taking a toll on me, I just had to come to that point of realization and accepting that, really want to become a better version of yourself, or if you want to achieve the dreams that you have, or you want to become whoever God has ordained you to be. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. For our online participants, when you join, kindly mute yourself. Sorry, please go on.
Yeah, so if I could become the person that God has ordained me to be, then I had to make some changes. So it's a whole series of things. The way my life has been was not good. My relationship with my family, my purpose, all of those basically making me decide to quit.
And how long did this go on for?
Started in March of 2018. That was when I started kind of realizing the effects of the habits. And then it went on till around October. October 2018 is when I finally decided enough is enough. And so it's been 6 years now, and by the grace of God, I've never returned there anymore. I don't smoke anymore. I don't drink anymore. I've not had a single drop.
And so, but how long were you on with this addiction to alcohol prior to the 2018 realization?
Maybe 8 years or more.
Wow.
14. Yeah.
Wow.
So, no, that's about 9.
Wow. Okay, I mean, I'll come back to you on, how you managed to overcome this and the kind of help you sought in helping you on this journey. But I want us to now listen to Gisela. Gisela, what's your story like? I mean, let's hear you. You were not directly affected with someone through some kind of challenge, health challenge, and this might have a toll on you. And I'm sure for a lot of us, it's either a friend or a relative or someone going through something to affect us. What's your thought?
Hello. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay. My name is Gisela. I want to give you maybe 5 minutes of who I have become through my experience, and then I'll play it back. Is that okay? Okay. So growing up, I was raised by my grandmother and my mom. My mom was a workaholic. So I spent most of my time with my grandmother. She was the one, Major Nettie. So when she says sit, you have to sit. Don't move, you don't move. Or else you have the consequences for that. So discipline was at the peak. My mom always said to me, if you want to do something, do it and do it well, or don't do it at all. Because if I was given a task and the person entered the room, I need people to be able to feel that I did it. So you need a mark to make sure that people will enter the room and see that, oh no, Gisela did this, because it was done and it was done well. So growing up, I always felt fashion was too easy. I like difficult, I like challenges. I set really high standards for myself, and when I'm able to achieve it, I feel like, yes, now I have. I would always pick things that men like to do. Things that were very difficult for men to do, I want to do it. Because it's something that my mom put in me. You can do it, no matter what it is. Whoever is doing the biggest things or the greatest things, they have blood running through them. They are human beings just like you, so you can do it. So I always set really high standards for myself. So when I'm able to achieve it, and I set higher standards. I remember when I wanted to go into, I decided to go into, no, I did not decide. I found myself in fashion because, remember, I felt it was too easy. But with my height and everything, I felt, okay, maybe I should just try and go Hello, yes. So I won Exclusive Face of the Universe, and I've represented Ghana on 5 international platforms in Germany, Spain, in China, in Nigeria, and so many other countries. And fashion is not easy, like I thought. As much as law is not easy, fashion is also very difficult. I found myself in areas where I had to do more because, number one, I'm black, because I worked for an international company after that, and I'm black, so people assume that black people don't do things very well. Number two, I'm a lady, so people assume that it might not also be that detailed. Number three, I'm a pageant person. I'm a pageant girl. I like fashion. Hey, people are they serious? Now, you have all these elements against you, so you always have to try better, do it more and more and more, and always leave a mark. Now, with this lady who has built me to become who I am today, had breast cancer. And she's a kind of person who didn't like to ask people to do anything for her. I can do it myself. Oh, I can do it. I can do it. Even the least thing, if she asks me to do something, so, oh, give me a few minutes. Oh, she has done it. You hesitate a little bit, she has done it. She doesn't like to ask anyone for help. Now, this is a situation where she had breast cancer. And I felt she knew it, but she didn't want to say it. And she did not believe in the hospitals because she'd lost some faith in going to the hospital because my dad passed away in the hospital and she felt it was out of negligence. So she didn't have any belief in that. And the first thing she wanted to go to was the herbal hospital because that's what she believed in. Reluctantly, we had to agree. My brother and I had to agree. And she went to the herbal hospital and it did not get better. So we had to convince her to go to Sweden Medical Center. We went to the hospital. And I was with her through the entire stages of chemo. And then something happened. She had stage 3 breast cancer, and then she had COVID. She got COVID on top of that. This is someone who is always optimistic about everything. The things that seem impossible, she says it is possible. You can do it. Before I ever sat in a plane, she said, no, we don't have the money. I don't have the money to do this. I would say, I don't have the money. We don't have this. She said, no, you will sit in that plane. You will go to that country. You will do this. You will do that. And I found myself doing all these things because of what she used to say. And now she had COVID and stage 3 breast cancer. I had to be the person encouraging her. No, it will be better. It will be better. I said, how is it going to be better? I did not believe it. Breast cancer itself, the cancer with it itself, I was preparing myself for the worst. But I still had to find a way to be there for her. And now she had COVID on top of that. And people who don't even have breast cancer are even dying from COVID. So we found ourselves in the hospitals, in and out. And she was on oxygen for 3 months. Literally, if she moves left, she's dying. If she moves right, she's dying. She just had to stay. She could not move. Meaning she had to depend on people, nurses, to take care of her, to clean her, to brush her teeth, to do the least things, the simplest things she could not do. She had to rely on people who are not even her relatives to do it for her. And I felt that was the worst feeling for her. One time I went to the hospital to see her and she said, I will come home very soon and without oxygen. And I said, maybe she doesn't know what was going on. But I did not say anything with my mouth because I had to encourage her. And I said, okay. I said, okay. After COVID, she survived COVID. Now the doctors had to check the stages of the cancer, and every doctor who saw her said it had metamorphosized, meaning it had spread. If it spreads, it means it's just a matter of months. But we were asked to go and do the test just to confirm. They did not even say it could be. They said it has metamorphosized. So in my mind, I was just preparing myself. We went to the hospital, we did a scan, and it had not metamorphosized because she told me she will come home without oxygen and she'll be fine. I said, And it had not spread. Like, wow, this faith is serious. Oh, I mean, even I had given up. So we came home without oxygen, and she was fine for some time. So after a year, then it got a little challenging because she needed blood. Each time you take chemo, IVs or medications, your red blood cells reduces. So you will always need to build up your blood in order to keep taking the chemo medications or the IVs. So she needed blood. And we all know in the family, she will not enter any hospital and she will not take any blood from anywhere. It's something she had always said. She won't take blood. And I said, this one, dear, I don't know how we are going to manage it. So I looked for other means for her to be able to build her blood. We looked for turkey berries. I blended it into soup, and I said soup will take a long time. She needs blood now. This lady said, then let her die. She said she will die. She will not take the blood. Like, wow. I'm going deep into this because the emotion of it was really a lot, and there was nothing I could do. Because if she says she won't do it, that means there's nothing else I could do. I needed to find a way for her to accept, the blood. So we blended the turkey berries so she can take it raw. So that's what she did, and she was able to build the blood to a certain level. But the doctor said it's not enough. She needs blood. Now I said, okay, then I will give her the blood if she will accept it. And she said, okay. At the time, I had just had a baby. I went to the hospital. Thank you so much. I went to the hospital, and then they said, you cannot give her the blood because you just had a child. Like, wow. Now, how do I do this? How do I explain this to her? So the only thing we could do was to get the blood, and I had to tell her it was mine. That was the worst feeling for me because I knew I was somehow lying to her, but in my mind I had to convince God that it's for a good cause. So she accepted the blood, and then we're able to build it to a good level. I mean, she had to keep taking it from time to time. In her mind, she kept asking me, hey, so your blood will finish, oh? Every single time you're giving me this blood. It means that I'm draining you. I said, oh no, I'm fine. I'm eating very well. So I'm very fine. So we kept going at this. And then the very last time she had to take it, it was a bit too late. But there was one thing that I took from her. What she said to me was, what would she have done if I wasn't with her? If I didn't go for her chemo sessions with her? If I wasn't there to be by her side when she went through all of this, what would she have done? And I realized that, oh, okay, then I really did much because all she needed was for me to be there. Not for me to do anything extra, but just being there through the journey was everything for her. And she really, really appreciated that. And that was consoling for me because I felt that throughout my time, growing up, she had built me to be the pillar that she needed at the time. So, meaning, whoever you decide to impact, whether it's your children or people close to you, if you do not impact them to the very best, it will fall back on you, because when you need them, they're not up to task. And I realized this when one of my relatives' mom also got ill. And then I felt she wasn't built enough to be able to handle her care, her mother's care, because she wasn't strong enough. And anytime she would go to the hospital, we asked, how is she doing? Oh, the doctor said, they said something is wrong with her hand. I don't know. Like, we don't know. But why don't you ask more questions? The doctor said, I don't know. Like, wow. But my mom always said, you can do it. The you can do it spirit was always in me. I would not accept anything if you tell me you can't do it, it's not possible. There's nothing like it's not possible. You have to try. You have to just do it. So I even became a nurse. I knew how to do so many things. Her medications, we followed through everything. Even her IVs, I knew how to do everything. Because I needed to be the strength that she needed at the time. So this is the experience I had and what it has made me to be. And because of that, I set up this for her, the best mom of all time. And when I read my tribute to her, I put this there. And I'll always put it there for my kids to see it, for my grandchildren to see it, and for her story to be told. And we set up this book for her. You can do it. Obetimiaye. So there's nothing in this world you cannot do. Every single person achieving something in this life is human. They have blood running through them just like you and I.
Not to cut you, but how did this affect you? How did it affect your human relations with others? How did it affect you psychologically? How were you coping with taking care of your mom, nursing her, and still going about your duties, you mentioned that you gave birth at a point.
Yeah, so meaning at the time I was taking care of her, I was heavily pregnant.
Yeah, so how did this affect you, affect your more nuclear family, your relations with others? How did you cope through all of this?
I think that I had been built so strong that I didn't have time to feel emotions. I only had time to act. There was no time I would feel, oh my God, what am I going to do? There was nothing like, what am I going to do? It was like, how can I make this work? I think I've never ever seen my mom crying, shedding a tear. I'd only heard her cry before, and that was just once. But I seen to break down into weakness, for you to see her weakness, I don't even know how to do it.
And did you have support yourself? Were there people you would go to and just want to talk, or just want to, distress because of what you were going through? Were there times where you feel like, okay, I just need a break this weekend, I want to just go somewhere and be on my own? Were there things you picked up to help you cope? Maybe, just listening to music or going for a show. How did you manage to navigate all of this and still stay strong, still, deliver at home, deliver for your mom and work and all that?
I think that when I saw her progress, I felt, no, okay, this is working. I need to do more. What can I do to make it better? I don't think I even had time to have friends. I could not even pick calls from people I felt just want to say hello or have a chat. I don't have time to chat. If you're calling me to say, have you tried this method? I found out that this can help. I don't have time to engage.
So it affected your human relations?
It did affect that. Even till now, I cannot show emotions. I don't have the time to feel like I'm weak. What am I going to do? Oh my God. No. there's always, how can I make it work?
Okay. And my last question, are there downsides to that? Yeah, I know it's good
Oh,
to...
definitely there are downsides to it. There are so many downsides
We
to
want
it.
to hear it.
So my relationship with people, it doesn't make me empathetic. So when someone tells me, I think Winifred would take it from there. Anytime she would say, "Oh, Miss Giselle, I said, you couldn't do what? I had cramps." I said, "You had what?" I don't remember what pain feels like. You had cramps, okay. And then you have to pretend it does not exist. Because, one time, the first time I had my menstrual cramps, menstruation, well, I'm sorry I'm saying, but we are sharing into details what's going on. This is real life stuff. I was in pain. Like, what is going on? I'm in pain. And my mom came to me and said, "You are allowing the pain to take over you. There's no pain." I said, "I'm in pain." She said, "There's no pain. The pain only exists in your mind." Then one time my auntie came home and said, "Why are you allowing this girl to go through this? Go and buy Bosco pump." Said, "There's something that can help with this pain." I didn't know there's something that existed to help me with that. And she said, no, she doesn't need it. I said, I need it. I'm in pain. I'm in pain. And then I remember taking it, and then I felt, I don't really feel. So yeah, so I worked through the pain. I can be in pain and be smiling with, "Oh, yeah, everything is fine. Oh, yeah, okay, everything is good." But I'm in pain. So I feel I'm able to cope with really difficult situations because of that. But yes, the downside to it is that I'm not empathetic to people's feelings.
Wow.
Yes, that's something. I'm still working through it. It has to be intentional. I have to rewind, go back, rewind it, and really try to be a little. No, it's not like I see people on the street, they are suffering. I don't want to help.
Yeah.
I will, but I will not put my emotion into it. I would rather find a solution to see how I can help you, so you can stand on your feet. Yeah. But to feel sad with you, to cry with, I don't know how to do. I don't know how to do.
I mean, you've become what in ordinary term would say hard girl.
Maybe, yes. I don't know. I have no clue how to feel that. And till I had a baby. Pain is pain. You're in pain. Childbirth pain. Now you feel it. you will feel it. But in my mind, I told myself, I'm going for war. This is war, so I have to embrace the pain. So I didn't ask for epidural or those pain. I don't want it. I'm going to war, so that's it.
Wow.
I don't want the cup to go over me. I don't want to go through it, through the pain. So I feel it has built me to be able to go through the pain of challenges that we face. So I can be also a strong pillar for people who feel like they are down. I don't know what to do. There's nothing. There's always something you can do. You cannot say there's not. There's always something you can do.
I'm sure some of you have questions you have for either Gisela or John, and I'll come to you shortly. But how long was this episode of assisting your mom and going through all of this? How long did
it was take? For about 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yes, about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for John, we listened to your story earlier. How did you overcome your challenge? What were some of the measures and mechanisms you took? Did you see a therapist? What did you do to overcome this alcoholic or alcohol addiction when you realized that you had to take a step against this? Hello, John. Are you still with us? Okay, so whilst we get him back on, when I came in, I made a friend. She's called Lydia. Lydia, right? Yes. I want you to just share your law school journey and how your experience has been and how you cope with everything. So we'll hear from Lydia, and then we'll hear from Prof.
Okay.
About how they are Yeah, they are my 2 new friends. Yeah, I remember you from the lunch too. Yeah, I remember. So you also share yours. Lydia. Yes. Yes, that's Lydia. So just share your. I'm sure it's relatable, right? Others want to learn about how you are. The assignments are not easy, and you have taught criminal law and all of those combined. How are you coping? How has your experience been like? How are you coping? How do you study? How do you relate with your friends? Are you fine? Just tell us. Is it on? Yes. Can you?
Hi. Okay, so as we all know, it's not easy, and trying to okay, and trying to transition from how I study from SHS to this place is not easy because you just read what you have been asked to read. You don't have to do extra. But when you come here, they don't have to tell you that read this. You have to read it on your own. And you had friends, and then this time you are trying to focus on your studies, and everyone is like, oh, so you're in tertiary, so you don't want to, talk to them anymore. You don't have time. When you say hi, you don't even talk. You just reply, hi, how are you? I'm fine. So I think it's very difficult, even with your social life. And the academic stress is already there, and you are trying to overcome that. And then, I don't know about others, but you also have family. You don't know, like you have issues in your family, and you are trying to bring all this together. It's not easy. But you can't complain. Because my father will always tell you that, okay, so do you have other people who are doing it? And you can't complain. You say, yes, you have seniors, you have colleagues, and then you still have to do it. So you can't complain.
How do you manage to blend all of that? You take part in the meeting and all of those things. How do you navigate all of
Okay, I am not part of the meeting. I have friends that. Okay, I am part of team. Yes. Oh no! They were the first political party like that approached me, so I decided to join, and it's been great so far. So I will encourage others to join if you want to. If you want.
So you are managing to combine doing all of those activities with academic work and social life.
Yes, and then you have friends who are going through the same thing.
Okay,
so
you're like
you
support
have something
system
to
for
share.
each other.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much,
You're
Lydia.
welcome.
And how about Prof?
Who's Prof?
I mean, the whole house wants to hear from Prof, so we are interested.
Prof, it's your turn. No, everybody's waiting, so you might as well speak. Oh, okay.
Oh, Prof. Charlie. Yes, Prof.
Hello, sir.
Aura.
So, the question is like our journey so far.
Yes.
Okay, so. It's not easy, but we in it here, out here. Yeah, we learning new things. We enlighten our scope. We broaden our scope. That's what law is about. It helps you. It helps in different aspects of life, except like the educational aspect. it helps you like to capture different aspects of life. Like you do things that you don't normally do on a normal, and yes, that's what I would say. And but there are cons to it too. You have to sacrifice some certain things you normally used to do. You know, like your social life. You have to minimize, learn to minimize. Yeah. So you just have to prioritize. That's what has taught me so far. Prioritize, and yes, and that's what I'll say.
So you are able to go through it by prioritizing your activities and knowing when to read.
Yes, I would say like prioritizing, like knowing what to do
At
and
every point in
cutting
time.
unnecessary stuff.
Okay.
Can I say something? I think that's a really good way to go about it, prioritizing it. I think it was really good. Yeah.
I mean, personally, so I mentioned that I also did the LLB, right? And for me, I had to cut off, okay, not cut off, but the way it was, because I was doing the evening school, we had lectures over the weekend as well. So naturally, social activities had to go down. And I had understanding boys, so my friends were a bit, Charlie, I can't make it, and they kind of understood. And so vacation was when we would say, Charlie, let's push everything to July, and then let's find a day and do what we couldn't do. If there's a wedding or funeral I couldn't attend, is there a way we can go and greet the people on Sunday or something like that? But my coping mechanism was football. I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, so my weekends, dear, even when I miss the match, I'll watch repeat. And that was how I was able to manage the pressure, because weekday, there's no time. Weekend is the only time you have for all the assignments and Zoom, whatever. And so I used to watch the EPL. I mean, I still watch the EPL a lot. And that's how I managed to cope with studies. The difficult part was when Champions League matches happen around exam time. And you are struggling with Charlie. But you have to, like you said, prioritize. So, I mean, I had friends who would be sending me updates and say, Charlie, Liverpool score 1-0. But, the Madrid final where we lost, man, I had a paper the following day. It's a story for another time. But, yes, I mean, for those who have to navigate, like, it's not only students who go through these challenges. I'm happy that I have professionals with us too to share how they cope with everything. There are people who have navigated different fields, like Doc has navigated doing agric and science and all of that. I want to hear from you. In fact, we all want to hear from you. Briefly, what has the journey been like? And I know it has been very challenging and stressful. How have you been able to cope with your professional life, your personal, all of the challenges that comes along with what you do?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. That is a very, very long story.
Let's cut it short.
Yes, I would say that I started as a science student. I did a physics, chemistry, biology, all of that up to sixth form in our time. And I switched to mathematical science when I got to Legon. But then I had to combine with statistics as a double major because I wanted to be marketable, but I loved mathematics. Then I went to teach national service. No job, so I remained there. I was in Navrongo. And after about 4 years, I found myself joining Catholic Relief Services as a monitoring and evaluation specialist. And that NGO focused on health, education, agriculture, governance, peace and conflict management. So I was a monitoring and evaluation officer for all these projects. And that really broadened my scope. Because dealing with all these sectors at the same time, you have to be on top of everything to be able to advise management and all the things they do. Then from there, I branched a little bit more into agriculture with another project in Kumasi. And that was more of agribusiness and processing of agricultural produce. So on and on and on. I went to USAID, I went to the UN, and then I got a contract to go to Liberia, first on an education project, and then did a little bit of agriculture also, governance, and I was responsible for monitoring and evaluation systems set up in all the public institutions in Liberia. So I worked across board. Then I went now into pure research, agricultural research in Nigeria with the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture. So from there I came back to Ghana and I've been working with the Ministry of Agriculture. So long story short, I've been through different sectors and I found myself as a consultant. Even though I'm working with the Ministry of Agriculture, I also do other kinds of things for different sectors. Long story short.
But I know you must have had certain challenges along the line. How do you try to, it won't be work all the time. How do you manage all of this and sometimes take a step back and say, should I say tired? Or as we say, now I'm stressed. You know, let me just relax before this thing affects me. Because you are, you know, combining so many different things at some point at the same time. How did you ensure that it didn't really take a toll on you, either, you know, your mental health, your physical health? What did you do to cope? What did you do to get going till now?
Yes, okay, I'll start with when stress stares at you in the face. One of the things I do is to stop everything and just go and relax. At times, even at work, especially in the international organizations I've worked with, I can stop work around 10 o'clock and go back home and sleep for 2 hours and come back. Okay. And what I can do after that is something that if I had stayed on, it would take me about 2 days to do.
Okay.
And I developed the ability to relax the mind and the body. Some might call it meditation, but I don't go through that process. I just lie down and relax myself. Mm-hmm. I just tell myself that the world is not going to end because I have a problem.
Yeah.
So I remove myself from the scenario mm-hmm. and just de-stress. And after that, I move on. In terms of my social life, I have not been a very social person from my childhood. Mm-hmm. And so I don't miss out on many things. And my friends and family know me. If I say I'll come, I'll come. If I say I won't come, I won't come. Yeah, so you prioritize what mm-hmm. you feel you can accommodate.
Okay.
And if you cannot accommodate it, you don't necessarily have to be apologetic to anybody. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, when you are down, the life will still go on.
Yeah.
But then when you keep yourself and then you are moving on, life goes with you.
Okay. That's some helpful advice.
Yeah.
And your concluding statement was really profound.
Yes.
When you are down, life will still go on. But when you keep up, life will go with you. That's profound. I wanted to hear from Nana Sase. I mean, for some of us, we want to venture into the creative space. There's something you do. But we also know that the creative space is not a space where every day, it's not like a 9 to 5, where you are assured of some income every time. Similar to, I don't know if there's a good example, but for the undergrad LLB, because it is your first time coming through the job market, once you do not go through straight into the School of Law, then it means you are home. And I have colleagues that, you know, it somewhat affects you mentally. How do you manage that? That, you know, where do you even find yourself in that situation? I know you are hot kick, but do you find yourself in a situation where it looks like for a brief period nothing is really going on and you still have to survive, like things must go on? And how do you overcome such a situation? you know, either now or when you were still building?
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So it's been 25 years of my life as a literary practitioner and 12 years full-time.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
I quit my job 12 years ago. I used to work with Global Media Alliance. I say it all the time. I was a PR person. And I think when you steal anybody's faith or confidence, they are done. Your faith and your confidence, these two things. Once anybody steals them, you're done. Charlie, you can't steal my faith. You can't steal my confidence. These two things. So I sat in a meeting with my HOD, my HR, like, people. I'm kicking my job. So I forfeited my salary that month. I had 100 cedis in my account. The next day it was down to 50. And I came down to 50 pesos in this Accra.
Wow.
Yeah. For real. Everybody's like, Charlie, get a job that's paying social security. But you see, in that meantime, I had a contract with God. I was like, guy, I'm giving you 5 years of my life. If this thing doesn't pay, me, I'll never put a pen to paper in the name of poetry. What had happened? We hadn't been paid that month. You know, agency sometimes has these challenges. Then a friend of mine calls me and says, Charlie, we have a gig. The Ochengini will be there. This was the second time I was meeting the Ochengini. I was like, God, if you're sending me this gig, don't let any of my media outlets come and cover. I was PR person for Silverbird, YFM, ETV, the whole range.
Yeah.
So break time, I just hop in the car. And true to that contract, Charlie, none of my media outlets showed. Which simply means
God heard you.
that day I got paid 3 times what I'd have been paid at the end of the month because I was still on probation. I went for just about 9 months.
Okay.
Three times that I was like, okay. So if I gave poetry that attention, the literary that attention, it could become my mainstay. Mm-hmm. You know, I felt the edge so strong. Everybody wants their child to be a lawyer. I'll be a lawyer later in my life. Everybody wants their child to be a doctor, a pilot, and all of that. I realized that we're in a cultural crisis. The older generation, you know, our greats seem to have conspired with nature to live at a time when we least expected. Somebody needed to stop the gap. I was willing to be a good guinea pig for that experiment. I gave him 5 years of my life. It's been 12 till now. If I knew it was going to be this tough, I would gladly quit my job any day.
Okay.
I would gladly kick it any day. Because there are 2 types of income. Mm-hmm. There's incredro. Incredro is rat poison. The one you have all today and then you're gone. And then there's a long haul where we see ADD, when you have something every day. Mm-hmm. When I'm not doing poetry, I've learned to diversify what I do. So I'm an English history combined major.
Okay.
It simply means I get to prove, I get to edit, I get to MC, I get to shoot documentaries. When I get the chance to, I do your media coordination for you. Okay. When I'm not doing all of that, I was a baker's son, or I'm a baker's son. I'll probably be baking some bread, or teaching somebody literature, doing some literature review, doing some consultancy for client A or B, you know, by virtue of these skills. And these are not things that somebody sat me down to teach me, and all of these things. Do you get my point? Yeah. And I realized, look, it had better be good. Because if you're going to give all your life to this, and this is what you're going to do, while you're spending time, I told them this is my master's degree I'm pursuing, this is my PhD I'm pursuing. While others are in class, some of my colleagues have their, you know, whatever thing they're chasing. Yeah. So, Charlie, when we meet at a point, it had better be good. Mm-hmm. It had better be that good. And I dare say that some things poetry has opened me to, I'm not sure that 8 to 5
would have opened you up to that.
One day, Trey Songz came to Ghana. Vodafone was one of our biggest clients at the time. We're doing the PR. With all respect, if this is going anywhere in the world, pardon me, but this is bragging rights for Ghana. In their press thing, I was like, Charlie, so what is this talent that Ghana does not have? I should be in some place somebody else is doing the PR. And that was a kick. I was out. So after 5 years, it's 12 now. But it gets challenging. You don't know where your next paycheck is coming from. That's what I'm talking about, your faith and your confidence. Mm-hmm. And so I see opportunity comes at once, not but at once. And so every stage gets 110% from me. So it's repeat business after repeat business after reputation going to different corners of the world.
Yeah.
You never know who is watching. So it had better be good. My literary training also taught me another discipline. I studied with Professor Kofi Anyedo, who Lade also knew, Maulia J. These were strict, Atuku Okain, strict people. Dress you up in public.
Yeah.
If it's not good, it's not good. If it's good, it's good. So there's no midpoint for me. anytime I take any stage, I'm representing thousands of young Ghanaian creatives who by time or circumstance don't have the chance to be here. I have to make sure I do due diligence such that next time it might not be me, it will be another young person who will trust them to hold that place well. Family is another space that holds you. So you realize that you have to juggle so many parts of your life. Make sure that you find strength in all of these areas of your life that you need to work in.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, one part is going to weigh you down.
Exactly.
Right. My dad is gone 7 years. So among their accounts, we call something Onuapening Eja. You are the elder brother, you are the father. So when my younger brother has a son, I am his uncle and I'm his grandfather at the same time. Which simply means you're taking decisions for everybody. But when it's time to take your decisions, Charlie,
it's you alone.
It's only you versus God. Do you get my point? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I'll sit back and read my poetry. I'll sit back and read the spirits that God created through me. Because these are things that people will send you testimonies from different parts of the world. I listened to your poetry and it gave me some good relief. I have a woman who has children with special needs. So the woman would actually recite to a point and allow the children to come up with the last lines. These things break me down.
Wow.
Not the challenge. These are the things that hit me, and just shake me up. You meet a Sam Jonah and say, "It's Charlie."
Oh yeah, I did.
You meet all 4 presidents of this fourth republic, and this is the first reaction. And
yeah.
So it's not all pay that is, cash that you get to spend. But Charlie, look, you draw strength from different. Maybe at a more appropriate time we can have time to have one-on-one conversation.
Thank you very much for sharing. I mean, the highlight of for me is the fact that you leveraged on your skills. And that for us is something, I mean, if you have something you are good at, you shouldn't just let it go because, I mean, for now and for us, we are law students. So if you are good with the arts, if you are good with anything, it's something that you should, still build on because you never know when it will come in handy for you.
Can I say something on that? So I think that whatever talent you have, that is where you will flourish. So if you think or you feel you want to be in law school and this is where you want to be, you will flourish. But if there's some dying talent inside, that thing that every single time you need to take a book is saying, hey, have you made jewelry today? That thing, that is your calling. And that is where you will make your money.
Yeah. Has John joined us again? Is he on, please? Okay, if he isn't, we've heard from he is? Okay. Hello, John. Okay.
I think you're not hearing me.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Great. So had earlier wanted to find out how you overcame your challenge. What kind of measures did you take? Who did you see? Did you speak to anyone? Who was your strength? Like, how did you just cope? How did you overcome the challenge that you had identified?
Yes, so,
We can't hear him. Hello, John. We can't hear you. We are getting it sorted. We'll sort it out in a bit. But if you have a question for any of the speakers, please raise your hand. You have a question? Okay, so when John is done, I'll give you that. If you have a question or a contribution, just let me know. Hello, John. Are you back? Okay, great.
Yeah, so I usually tell people that Jesus is my therapist. You know, has been the glory of God. Overcoming this habit would never have been possible without. That I had to take practical steps. where I was able to have it, but I still had to take a lot of practical steps, and most of them were mentioned by the audience there. I had to make change my circle, the kind of people I was working with. Most of them I had to
The mixer
the likelihood of falling back into alcoholism was easy. Coping mechanisms, rightly mentioned, you have to, because one of the things that fuels alcoholism and smoking is boredom. The moment you're bored, you pick up a roll and you smoke. The moment you're bored, you pick up a glass and you're drinking. And so you need to feel in those bored at the books, and so walk a lot. Walking helps, just going at the flowers, the trees, the plants. It's so inspirational. It takes your mind off, the habits and the urge to drink or smoke. So these are some of the steps. I can never, talk about this without giving credit to God, because I believe He was going to strengthen me, to be able to overcome such habits.
And how is GIMPA, doing now? I know. Do you intend to at any point renege on this non-alcoholic, bar thing? Is this something that's thriving? How is it going? Because I know you set it up as like after the whole procedure, it's kind of like a symbolic setup to reflect the fact that you've gone past the stage of being an alcoholic, and now you are going or doing life without alcohol. How is it doing? How is it thriving?
Yes, like I said, we opened in October 2022, and it's been amazing. I'm actually currently in London, in the United Kingdom, and I'm here basically for that purpose, the non-alcoholic bar. Interestingly enough, this industry is growing at a very fast rate. A lot of people are cutting down on drinking for several reasons, either for their health, or for their belief, or for several reasons. And so there's no I'm actually here in the UK learning more and exploring with a few brands that we can bring back to Ghana and use at our bar. So GIMPA is just at its early stage. We've had so many fantastic events. If you go on our social media, you see how interesting the concept is, and you see all the pictures and videos from the events we've had. It's really been something that has challenged the status quo, because for a long time everywhere you go is just alcohol. So to have GIMPA where you can go and still enjoy a good time out, participate in maybe karaoke night, game night, watch a movie, play some board games, and still have a very nice drink that feels sophisticated and feels good enough for your consumption, but at the same time there's no alcohol. I think that's something really interesting, and we're just beginning. So we're definitely gonna keep doing it.
Okay, great. I would come to you. I mean, we have students here. I'll come to you on this is a conversation we are having to mark Mental Health Week. I'll come to you to share some tips, something they can take away with them to cope, or as coping mechanism, something to motivate them, to get them going as we mark the mental health this week. Before I come to you, Gisela, let me take the question from her.
Okay.
Yes.
Gisela, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Are you doing great? Okay, my name is Amma. I work with the GIMPA Corporate Affairs and Institutional Advancement. I've listened to you. It happens to all of us. Just that we don't even have the platform to discuss all these pertinent issues. We love you to be coming from time to time.
Thank you.
And then GIMPA has changed my life so much. Yeah, I met professors and they dazzled me, really. They changed my world. I can't talk much about myself, but I've been happy ever since. They realized I love academia, but I was running away some way, somehow. I wanted to go into showbiz. You are into fashion, which is beautiful. Sometimes it's boredom. And then you didn't talk about funding. Did you get some support in funding her health?
Okay, that's what you wanted to ask.
Yeah. You didn't talk about funding. Yeah. I also had a mom who was attacked with breast cancer, and I was lucky she was in the health sector. So they basically supported me throughout. Now, the only thing I can caution you is that don't leave out the God factor, okay? You can be busy, but make sure you get a good foundation in church. There are beautiful churches. Reverend Sam Kwanchi is very good with these issues. And then Otabel, I'm a Baptist anyway.
I'm an Otabel.
Yeah, an Otabel, okay. I've been well groomed. So when I went through all these funny stuff about life, I resorted to the God factor. Sometimes it's boredom. So they were talking about sporting activities. Yeah, one day I went to the polo grounds near whatever, just near airport, yeah. I just had a feel of what is going on about life. So we can go into sports and all that. And you can also join the GIMPA family. Okay? We have juicy courses.
Okay.
Just to, take the mind off all these happenings.
Okay.
And you are a friend to GIMPA. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So I think she asked me about finances.
Yes, funding. How do you manage that?
Okay. So at the time, we were working on a project. And the project was successful. So we had a lot of earnings from that for the family. So we used that to hire nurses to take care of my mom, and we gave her the best because she always gave us her best. So we used that funding to give her the best nurses. We had nurses that would come morning and then evening, they will run a shift. So at least she will not need to ask for help. So the help will always be offered to her. And we had a family, our nuclear family, they were very helpful. My auntie was helpful, my brother and I. Within the family, we also raised some money and then we used that to also support. There was one thing that my mom did not like is to go out to seek for some kind of funding for her. It's something that she didn't like. So we had to just find a way within ourselves to be able to manage what we had to do and still work hard on the side to be able to give her the best that we could. It was challenging. It was really, really challenging because I couldn't even have enough time to concentrate on working because I always felt I need to be by her side. Mm-hmm. So then who's going to take care of the gap of making extra?
Yeah. So
then I had to hire someone to make that extra for me. Wow. So that I will not be the person to be doing that. So I'd also set up a jewelry line called Giselle.
Okay.
Yes, so that was what I like to do in my free time. I like to create things. I make jewelry. So I had to get someone else to take care of that. I made the jewelry over time, get someone to sell it, market it, do all the campaigning for it. Mm-hmm. So I can have the time to be by her side because I knew she didn't have enough time. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to spend that time working because I can work for the rest of my life. So I needed someone to fill that gap, and that person to fill the gap for being a nurse when I'm not there at whichever time, and then still be there, be the icing, the cake, and also the icing on top of it. So at least she can have enough for all of that. And yes, the God factor, yes, is something that my mom is a true believer. Her faith is beyond measure, is beyond. And anytime I face challenges, she would come to the room. She would not even ask me what happened. She knows something has gone wrong. So, I mean, there's something with telepathy with mothers. I don't know how they always know something is going on somewhere. And she knows that I don't like to talk because I don't like to show emotions, but she knows. So she'll come in there and give me a psalm to read this. And I'm telling you, each time I read that, like it was like magic. It felt okay. Everything felt good. And anytime I had problems with someone, a relationship with someone, she would say, stop complaining to the person. Complain to the person who made him. God. And he is the person that can do something about it. So I always try to go there. And now that she is not there, he's the only person that I feel I can go to with my problems. Because every single time I go to her, and this happened, and that happened, and then she will advise me and try to direct me on what to do. Now I don't have that go-to. So that the void is huge. I'm still trying to cope. I'm still trying to find a way. I don't want anyone to feel it. In fact, I don't know. I don't want anyone to be a representation of her because that's still there. This is, for me, this is her. I put flowers close to the picture all the time. I talk to her. You know, it makes me feel good. And when I pray to God, I tell him, please tell her that thing that she did the last time. You know, I still feel there's a connection, you know, because she told me that he is there. So if she's in heaven and he's there, it means he knows how she's doing. So I talk to him. How is she doing today? Is she looking okay? I hope she's in a big house. There are things that I don't feel like I'm going. It's something that I feel it keeps her alive in me. So I talk to the Creator who made us, and I know that he's with her. So then the only person I can talk to feel closer to her is him. So with every other issue I have, every challenge, everything I want to know, everything that I'm confused about, I go to him. So it's something that she taught me how to do, and thank you for reminding me to keep going there. Yes. So, yeah. Thank you.
We've had a very touching, inspiring, all of the adjective conversation. I've liked it. Does anyone, any contribution?
I think Miss Edgana also has something to say because her father also passed away from cancer. So okay. I think.
Microphone.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gisela. I believe I've actually learned a lot from Ms. Gisela. And as she said earlier on, she's actually a hard girl, a very hard girl. She's very, very hard. And I think that it's actually good in life, right? If you faced a lot, or if you are still facing a lot of problems, you don't have to let the problems, overshadow you. You just have to just find a coping mechanism. And I'd always say that my coping mechanism is to laugh, to smile, and to sleep. Like I would just.
Yeah, I like to sleep.
Yes, I like to sleep too. I would just go and then sleep, and then when I wake up, I'll feel better. So about my dad was a medical researcher, and sometimes we always say this, and then we keep on thinking that, okay, like assuming a pastor, falls sick or die, you keep on thinking, you like, how come? How, like, why did he die? Like, how did he die? As a pastor, you have to, like, at least pray so that So I kept on asking myself, as a medical researcher, how come you didn't see it earlier to prevent it? And I really loved my dad so much. my dad was someone that he was my first love, I would say this. My dad was my first love, and he wanted the best for me. My dad wanted me to become a lawyer, and myself too, I wanted to become a lawyer because he knows me. He'll be like, this is my daughter there, like, I'll become a good lawyer, But unfortunately, so my dad passed when I was in high school. And I think that because I loved him and because of the bond that we shared, because I was his only daughter, so, the love and the bond that we shared. So I think I felt it when he was passing, because I was in school at that time, and he was home with my mom and my brothers, my other brothers. So during that time, before he passed, I felt it. And sometimes I would be there, and when I was in school, I was always learning. Like midnight, I would wake up, I had my alarm clock with me, so I always, learn. And at midnight, I kept on, I would be saying it. And also, I remember always telling my mom, I really need to see my dad. And she'll be like, oh, there's nothing wrong, everything is okay. Mothers, yeah. So he's fine.
We are here.
So she'll always tell me that, oh, your dad is doing okay. I'm like, no, I feel like there's something wrong and I need to really see this man, but it's all good. At the end of the day, I feel like it has really helped me develop myself. And I think, like right now, during that time, you always have to depend on your parents, your dad. Okay, your dad will give you this, your dad will give you that. But it has really helped me. He died when I was very young. And 7 years ago, I was very young, literally, and my dreams of becoming a lawyer, I couldn't, and I had to, do something that I was passionate about, which was modeling. So after high school, I had to, quickly make sure that I go for what I wanted. So that was when school wasn't really, I like education, I really loved education, but I wanted to do something that I had passion for, so that I can forget all these things. Your dad, like if your dad were to be here, he would have helped you accomplish your dreams and all that. So right now that he's not here with you, you have to go for something that you want, like you really want for yourself. So that was when I became a model. And before becoming a model, it was very difficult, but it was okay. Now the challenges and all that, I had to move from my hometown, which is Central Region, all the way to Accra. I didn't have anywhere to live, but that is that dream, the goals and the dream that I was chasing. So nothing was stopping me. I don't mind if I have to sleep on the streets. No. So just the dream, and God being so good, I've been featured on in major newspapers six times, and I've been on billboards for like 6 times as well. So when we talk about
now you'll be going to Philippines.
Yes, and I'll be going to Philippines to represent Ghana at Miss Earth International. So thank you. Okay. So that it has really helped me. So I would say that, aside from being emotional, the tragedy and all that, aside from that too, it has really shaped my life. I've become an independent young lady. So I would like to encourage each and everyone here, my fathers, my mothers, my siblings and my fellow students as well, that keep dreaming. You don't have to think about how you can, achieve that dream. Just go for it. When someone offers you an opportunity and then you are not sure of, just say yes, and then, learn how to do later. Just grab it. Grab each and every opportunity that you get as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And it's great that you ended on the point of dreams, and the whole theme is the evolution of dreams, and yours is a perfect example of how dreams can evolve and make you who you are. I'm sure we want to hear one last story, and then we'll wrap up this session. After this session, we have a part 2, which is a mentorship program on poetry and all that, and who none other than Nana Sase to engage us
Yes, right.
on that second, aspect of the program. And so I want us to listen to one last story. Looks like we have very, very touching stories. And one last one that we can learn from and help us at least develop our own mechanisms of how to overcome the mental stress of what we go through. So let me listen to the foundation. I call her the foundation lady, please.
All right, thank you very much. Please, my name is Joyce and I'm from Intiama Foundation.
The foundation lady.
Yes, please. All right, so I just want to share a little story of my journey as a chartered accountant.
Okay.
So it was a difficult journey, but I've learned some 3 lessons that I would want to share. So lesson 1 is you always need to have a timeline to whatever you do. So when I went to register to be a student of the institution, so they give you a maximum period of 10 years to complete the course. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, I have enough time. So I didn't give myself time to maybe 3 years or 1 year I want to finish. So it took me a longer time. Maybe I could have finished earlier. But because I didn't give myself timeline, I was just going with the flow. And then the second lesson I learned was to be consistent. ICA will humble you.
Like the law school.
Like the law school. ICA will humble you when you go in and write and the result comes and you failed. Having 49% is a fail. You have to rewrite again. And it's sometimes I'm working, and I also have a position in the church as a treasurer. So I was doing church work, I was working, I had to learn also. And ICA is like, it doesn't reward intelligence, but you have to have time for the course. You need to sit down. So sometimes I need to wake up very early at dawn, learn. Sometimes from work I have to go to Zenith College. I have to sleep there. I need to do overnight and come back home like 3, come and sleep small, bath, and then come to work. So it's a lot of time, and you have to be consistent. When you fail, you need to motivate yourself and go back. If not, a lot of people have stopped because it's not easy. When you fail, the motivation is gone.
True.
So you need to motivate yourself and then the third lesson also is, as you climb higher, you don't need to pull everyone along. Sometimes it's either the situation eliminates some of your friends or you intentionally have to eliminate them. Because some of them, like I had a friend, he had it in mind that he wants to do the course. Now he's not doing it, but always wants to know where I am during, at every step he wants to know. He will come to my house, he wants to know. Then, so at the time, I was failing, and I was like, no, I need to let this person go. So I intentionally blocked him. Then when he asked me, oh, where have you gotten to? I'm like, I'm tired, or I've given myself a break. Meanwhile, I was still learning and I was still doing. Yeah. So the last time he saw me, I was like, I'm done. And I was like, hey, when? I said, oh, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm done. Yes. And during my journey also, I had friends that I learned with. I realized that one of my friends was not matching my energy. Small time, she's tired. And we have a lot to cover. So I need to devise a strategy just to not learn with her, do my own thing. And then I'm done and she's still there. So assuming I followed her, I will still be there and then. So sometimes you need to intentionally eliminate some friends as you go higher. If you leave them, you'll still get someone who is like-minded at the top to work with. And then the last one is that you can't do anything without God. You still need to pray and leave everything to God. So this is the end of my story.
I like that. I like the fact that you simplified it into, like 3-4 lessons that everyone here. And it's a perfect summary for all of us to be consistent, to learn to prioritize, to take the God factor seriously, and all of that. These are very, very important lessons. But since we started on Zoom, let's end on Zoom so that John can give us his final words. We are students, we are workers, we are all of that, and want to hear from you. What do you want us to take away from this conversation we've had with you as we are going away after this, mental health conversation that we've just had?
Yeah, I'm very big on purpose because I believe that through fulfillment and true happiness only comes from a place of purpose. And so for your mental health to be intact and for you to function at your best capacity, I believe each and every one of us has to determine to live our purpose. And the only way you can know your purpose and live your purpose is if you ask the one who created you. Having that relationship with God can really give you clarity on what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to be. And so I'd encourage everyone listening to me today that we all have a reason why we are here on earth, and the sooner we found out that reason and start living it out, the better our lives will become, all around, with our mental health, with our physical health, with our financial health. Just try as much as possible to live your purpose and you will be happy.
Okay. Thank you very much. Those are very striking last words. Gisela.
Okay. What I would like to say is that if you find someone in need or you come across any other person around you and you have something to say, let it be positive. In all the problems or challenges that I had in my life, the one thing that kept ringing in my mind, in my heart, is what my mom kept saying, that you can do it. It's not even just the words, it's the intensity with which she said it. I believed it. And until now, I still believe it. So if there's anything you want to share with anyone, just know that your words really mean a lot to a lot of people. And you might never know how impactful it will be to the next person. So share good words and good things with people around you.
Thank you very much. And lastly, from the audience, I would pick my very good friend. I met you during the lunch. Prof's assistant. And talking for students, what are some of the takeaways? I'm sure you. Oh, Mr. GIMPA.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Some takeaways. I mean, I noticed you were following keenly. That's why I opted to call you. So, some takeaways from the event. Anything from what has been shared?
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to say thank you to all the panelists for your inspiration. Listening to your stories was very inspiring, and my key takeaways that I believe everybody else should take away from this program is, first of all, the God factor. He created us. No matter the religion you believe in, no matter your beliefs, there was a higher power that created us. So that God factor, we cannot do without it. Also, from Prof Emeritus said, priorities. We need to prioritize and make good use of our time, because you never know when you're going to go. You don't know what's going to happen next. So you need to prioritize and do what you have to do. Sometimes you might have to cut people from your life, depending on the situation. But, I mean, that one too, it's life. I mean, sometimes you never know what could happen. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. And so to sum it all up, we say, John says, know your purpose. Gisela says, be positive and share positivity. Mr. GIMPA says, the God factor and to prioritize. And from me to you as law students, I would say support each other, because I mean it was the support of my colleagues, or the idea of us. I mean, when we started the journey, it was competition. I mean, where everybody was jostling for the little marks and all of that. But at a point, we realized that for a lot of us, okay, this is the evening school. For a lot of us, we've done first degree, some have masters, some are doctors. There was really no point in being too competitive with each other. So then when one person gets slides from like the past, our seniors, then he comes to put it on the platform. When one gets an explanation, he shares it. And it made the journey relatively easier for all of us. So you have an engagement in the office, you are late to work. By the time you go, someone has saved a seat for you around where you usually sit, because they know that's where you come and sit, and all of that. And so we relied on each other, the groups we were in. Of course, there were issues, but I mean, generally, we were our support system. So that's the message for you. It really helps that you see each other as supportive friends and you help yourselves through the journey, because it's not easy. It's been very nice. You've been very engaging. I like your nodding. It means you're following. Thank you very much, John, for joining us through the session. Your story is very inspiring. I haven't visited Eden Bar yet, but I'll try to do so.
We'll all be going there.
Yes, I've been motivated.
I'll tell them I know John. So.
Oh yes, yeah, I know John,
yeah.
and I know you.
I'd love to host you guys there anytime.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you very much for coming. I've thoroughly enjoyed our interaction. I hope you stay for the next session, because I'm going to stay too. I did literature in high school. I want to polish up, Yeah, so we'll distress before we come. We will distress a bit. Thank you very much. It's been an honor.